Biblical Bitcoin. Two words that merge timeless truths from Scripture with the revolutionary world of Bitcoin. Today we're diving into one of the most action-packed moments in the Gospels. Jesus versus tables. Jesus versus the money changers. If you've ever felt ripped off at an airport currency exchange or wondered why your grocery bill keeps climbing while wages stagnate, this story is for you. It's not just ancient history, it's a blueprint for fighting financial injustice today. Let's set the scene. Pilgrims from all over the Roman Empire are flocking to the temple to worship, offer sacrifices, and pay their temple tax. But what should be a sacred space of prayer has turned into a bustling bazaar of exploitation. Enter Jesus, fresh from his triumphant entry on a donkey, the original humble king. He doesn't politely ask for reform, he takes extreme action. Listen to this from Mark 11:15-17. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves, and would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. And as he taught them, he said, "Is it not written, 'My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." Whoa. Jesus, the Prince of Peace, flipping tables? This isn't some mild-mannered suggestion. It's righteous rage. He's quoting Isaiah and Jeremiah here, calling out corruption as an abomination to God. Why so intense? Because corrupt monetary practices weren't just annoying, they were desecrating God's house and exploiting the vulnerable. And if Jesus got this fired up about unfair money systems back then, imagine what he'd think of our global economy today. So what exactly ticked Jesus off? Let's break it down. Drawing from historical sources like the Jewish historian Josephus and Mishnah, which detail temple operations, there were two primary ways worshippers were being fleeced. And trust me, it's eerily similar to modern financial tricks. First, inflated prices for sacrificial animals. Jewish law required unblemished offerings. Think doves for the poor, lambs for the well-off. Pilgrims could bring their own, but temple inspectors, often in cahoots with the sellers, would nitpick and reject them for tiny flaws. Sorry, your dove has a feather out of place. Buy ours instead. And those on-site animals, marked up exorbitantly. A pair of doves that cost pennies outside might run you a day's wages inside. This hit the poor the hardest, turning an act of devotion into a paywall for piety. As Proverbs 11:1 puts it, "The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him." These guys were using rigged scales, literally and figuratively. The second way that people were being exploited was sky-high fees for currency exchange. The temple tax was half a shekel per adult male, payable only in pure Tyrian or Jewish coins. No idolatrous Roman money with Caesar's face allowed. Pilgrims from afar had to swap their drachmas or denarii, and the money changers set up shop right in the court of the Gentiles. Sounds convenient, right? Wrong. They charged outrageous commissions, sometimes up to 12.5% or more, plus hidden fees. For a poor family, that can mean skipping meals to worship. It wasn't an honest service, it was a scam, violating God's call against false weights and measures. Jesus saw this as theft wrapped in religious robes. The temple, meant for prayer for all nations, was now a den of robbers, a hideout for crooks. And here's the key. This wasn't passive opposition. Jesus didn't write a blog post or start a petition. He physically disrupted the system. Why? Because corrupt money practices are an abomination to God. They exploit the faithful, hinder true worship, and mock divine justice. Jesus is saying, fair monetary policy isn't optional for those who come to worship. It's essential. God demands honesty in our dealings, especially in his house. Fast forward 2,000 years, if Jesus opposed corrupt money in the temple, what about our global system? Enter the US dollar, the world's reserve currency since Bretton Woods in 1944. It's held by central banks worldwide for trade, reserves, and oil deals. The petrodollar system. Sounds neutral, but it's a form of exploitation that hits our fellow believers in developing nations the hardest. Here's how it works. The United States enjoys exorbitant privilege. We can print dollars at will through the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing or deficit spending, and use them to buy real goods and services from abroad. Think oil from Saudi Arabia, electronics from China, coffee from Ethiopia. Foreign countries accumulate these dollars as reserves, but when we inflate our currency, that value erodes. It's called exporting inflation. Emerging economies like those in Africa, Latin America, or Asia, home to millions of Christians, see their holdings devalue while their own currencies weaken even more, sparking local inflation. Take Nigeria or India, where believers toil in factories or farms. They export real stuff, oil, textiles, spices, and get dollars in return. But the United States just has to print trillions, and our debt's over $35 trillion now, and those dollars buy less and less over time. It's like the temple changers, unfair exchanges that siphon wealth from the vulnerable to the powerful. The Council on Foreign Relations notes that this allows the United States to borrow cheaply and even impose sanctions, but it creates global imbalances. Persistent trade deficits here means surpluses there, but with inflation baked in. For Christians in these nations, it's not abstract. It's higher food prices, eroded savings, and harder missions work. And get this, just like the temple elite profited, United States banks and corporations thrive while global poor suffer. Jesus would call this an abomination, a modern den of robbers, or world of robbers, where the house of global trade meant for fair exchange exploits everyone. But there's hope. What if we flip the tables on this system? Enter Bitcoin. The decentralized digital gold with a fixed supply of 21 million coins, transitioning to a Bitcoin standard globally wouldn't just tweak things, it would be a step towards true economic freedom, especially for our brothers and sisters worldwide. Bitcoin's proof of work and blockchain and decentralized aspects ensure that no central authority can inflate it away. No endless printing like fiat. As Saifedean Ammous argues in the Bitcoin Standard, it mimics sound money principles from history, like gold, but better. Verifiable, portable, and borderless. For developing nations, Bitcoin means working for something immutable. No more exporting goods only to see your reserves diluted by United States policy. Christians in Venezuela or Zimbabwe, battling hyperinflation, could store value in Bitcoin, protected from corrupt regimes or external devaluation. It's freedom. The unbanked, over 1.7 billion people, many believers, gain access without predatory fees. Transactions are peer-to-peer, and Bitcoin halvings will make it infinitely scarce over time. This aligns with biblical stewardship, honest weights, and justice for the poor. It's not utopia, but it's an upgrade from exploitative fiat. Jesus did not just oppose corruption by standing on the corner with a sign. He raged against it because it offends God and hurts his people. From temple tables to treasury printers, the call is clear. Pursue fair money. Bitcoin offers that path forward. Keep on studying it, pray about it, and let's build a more just world. Subscribe, like, and comment about what tables need flipping today. God bless, and see you next time on Biblical Bitcoin.